Trailer releases are coming out on the daily at this point, and it's very easy for you to have missed a trailer, so I'm here to tell you what you missed. On top of a Mario movie being announced and a Garfield trailer existing, the Oscars happened over the weekend, and I'm still recovering over Megamind 2, there is another TV series coming off of a mainline movie of the past in the form of Pixar's Monsters at Work. Remember this old series? This was a thing that they made, I think, 2 years ago, and now there's a second season to this thing. And really, my initial thoughts when I first saw this trailer is a lot of negativity. The more I'm watching it on loop again and again, the more it's bringing me back. This isn't exactly gonna be Pixar's Monsters Inc. getting the Megamind 2 treatment, but you can obviously see it's a little bit lower budget. I watched the original season when it came out 2 years ago, and I'll be honest, it did not resonate with me too much. I barely remember the details, but the general idea is you have this new guy, Tyler, involved, the big long horn dude, who's come to take on a job at Monsters Incorporated freshly after the events of the original Monsters Inc. So Mr. Waternoose has been arrested, Sully and Mike are in charge, and they switched from scares being their source of energy to laughter. Honestly, the premise of this second season really is probably what the first season should have been. This whole thing is about Tyler learning to be a jokester. Somehow that hadn't already been covered. What actually happened in the first season is he came in, learned that he couldn't be a scarer anymore, and so went into the mechanics department. There he slowly raised the ranks, learned the inner workings of the factory, and in the very last episode is promoted as a jokester. Maybe that's why it didn't resonate with me. It's not the story I wanted to hear. When you hear it's a sequel story to Monsters Inc. and it's not going into the prequel Monsters University territory, you want to see the laughter element. And it dabbles, but it's kind of not the main focus. But no, now we're finally here, and Tyler is learning to be a jokester. The thing, however, that's nagging me at the front of my brain, and somehow I didn't notice it 2 years ago, or maybe I did and then just it fell out my head again, is the fact that because this is like a lower budget aesthetic, but also has higher technological advances compared to the 2001 production, the human children just look like Cocomelon babies. I look back to see if season 1 had the same aesthetic, and it does. I hate it. After knowing that there is legitimately low-budget Cocomelon babies for the Boss Baby TV show or the Megamind TV show, now to see Monsters Inc. also just has Cocomelon children in it, it makes it feel so much cheaper and crappier by association immediately. But getting over that fact, looking at all the other details to this series, maybe I can get into it. Yes, it still has some other elements of cheap animation. There's a point where Tyler is scaring a child and the background through the windows is just red, which I guess is artistic, but it just looks cheap to me. And obviously they have got the photorealistic hair, but that's not very impressive these days. But no, in keeping retention time up for this sequel series, now we're going back to the references of the prequel movie as the characters of Monsters University make a reappearance. Now suddenly we learn the big rival bully Johnny has in fact become the boss of his own fear factory and still runs with the archaic ways of energy production. In the final episode of the first season, Monsters Incorporated had to prove that laughter was a valuable source of energy by raising a certain amount in a day. So this is still kind of fresh news that's a little bit controversial, but now he's gonna be the figurehead of the rival factory that Monsters Inc. has to deal with, known as Fearco. The plot of season 2 is basically that this guy sees Tyler in his scaring ways and gives him the job offer to go and work at Fearco as a scarer. It's all the conflict between should he go to the evil rival company and scare like he's good at doing, that he has a natural talent for, or does he stay with the good guys, the friendship, the good ways, and learns to be a laughing jokester. Thank you for making it halfway through this video. You know how it goes at this point. Do check below to see if you subscribe so you can keep up with any movie news and trailers. And why not keep the conversation going down in the YouTube comments or on our Discord server? What are your thoughts on Monsters at Work? Did you see the first season? Are you gonna see it now? Do you want to see Monsters Inc. expanding? Do you care about the Cocomelon babies? Whatever the case, I'll be curious to hear your thoughts, and I'll let you get back to the rest of this video. It's a very simple plot, but it's got its references in there. There are people to see. You see some of the teachers. There's like a reunion at Monsters University to see the alumni a few years later. Still kind of weird considering we saw Monsters University after we saw Monsters Inc., but you know, the vibes are there. And really, I think I'm coming to warm to this series because it is finally the story I wanted to see. Of course, the sequel to the Monsters Inc. story needs to focus on the learning of being a jokester. Add in the other elements of the story by getting in some Monsters University content, and like, you sound like you're in a gold mine. I'm just surprised it took so long to get there. Now, the actual production details of this movie are very quick. This comes out April 5th, as I understand it. Less than a month from its trailer release, about 3 days ago, it's releasing on the Disney Channel and Disney XD and all that good stuff. I'll just watch it on Disney Plus. That's where I did the original series. It turns out the Disney Plus debuts actually another month later on May 5th. Good to know. Interesting choice, but yeah, whatever. All of the cast return, as of course these are beloved characters. You've got Billy Crystal as Mike, John Goodman as Sully, Ben Feldman as Tyler, Mindy Kaling as Val. After coming off of the role of Disgust, she didn't want just a mere $100,000 for an appearance in the sequel. I guess she'll stick around for the Monsters at Work TV series. They must pay some big bucks. Ali Wong is playing a character called Jill. There's Jennifer Lewis as Grandma Tuskman, Henry Winkler as Fritz, but the main one to notice, of course, is Nathan Fillion coming back as Johnny. It's a star-studded cast doing their Pixar-y things. Other celebrities that were released in the original Monsters University cast include John Krasinski, Charlie Day, Steve Buscemi, Audrey Plaza, Bill Hader, Alfred Molina as well, and apparently Matt Mercer's there as additional voices. That's interesting. Maybe they'll make an appearance. Some of them might be a little bit above the pay grade now, and it just depends on which monsters actually make a reappearance from the university days. Oh, and actually we have confirmation of which celebrities are in fact making reappearances, including, Audrey Plaza, Nathan Fillion of course, and Bobby Moynihan. Other guest stars apparently also include Jennifer Coolidge, Reese Darby, Jennifer Lewis, Ali Wong, Bowen Yang, Janelle James, Paula Pell, Alan Tudyk, Jolo Truglio, Danny Trejo, Cody Rigsby, Danny Pudi, and Jimmy Tatro. Everyone's a monster in this world. I think the idea that the big villain became the big rival boss just kind of makes a lot of sense. It's very standard, sure. And I can't complain, it's always more Pixar content, even if it is a lower budget TV series version. And really, I think this is the first season 2 we've really gotten of a Pixar TV show. I think Cars just kept rebranding with a different TV show every time. So I guess they think they found a winning formula. I still don't think the main protagonist really looks that compelling, but you know, whatever. You've then also got from the original movie, Jennifer Tilly as Celia coming back, Bob Peterson as Roz. I didn't realize they were literally voiced by a guy, but I guess that makes sense with how many people can do that impression. And John Ratzenberger is indeed back as the Abominable Snowman. Beyond that, this just looks to be a simple, standard Monsters, Inc. expansion that was kind of the story we expected all along. The official synopsis only really says, when new doors of opportunity unexpectedly open at rival energy company Fearco, Tyler's co-workers at Monsters Inc. begin to question his loyalty. As his laugh-floor partnership with Val is pushed to the brink, Tyler must discover where he really belongs. Alrighty. The first season also did have a lot of side plot of what Mike and Sully have to do to keep the factory afloat, so I assume we get more of that. Really, it's just more content. I dislike the face of the babies, but everything else just seems nice, typical, and standard. It's certainly something for me to talk about come round to May 5th. And so, I'll end it off there. Just a short little video for a short little trailer. And at some point I'll get around to the underdog British cat movie trailer that I don't think anyone's ever really noticed. It's called 10 Lives. I'll talk about it tomorrow. As for now, my name's been Daz. Thank you for making it to the very end. Tell me your thoughts on Monsters at Work. Have you seen the first season? Did it hook you? Are you gonna watch this? It's fine if you don't. I'll do it for you. And I will see you in a little bit.